Hello and welcome to another episode of Cricket Across America. Yes, we are live. Back where we've been for all the minor league cricket. We weren't able to get you live last week, but we're here again with so much to talk about. I'm Om Patel, joined of course by Nate Hayes, who's next to me as always. Nate, what really a week we've had in USA cricket, and we have so much to get into tonight.
So much to get into. It's tough to remember it all, which is why you made a great list.
That's why we have rundowns. Why we don't have to do it all up here. First off, before we get into anything, I do want to say thank you guys for tuning in. We know that it's not minor league, but we do appreciate you guys showing us support, chipping in, liking the video, and also, if you guys want to jump into the comments, please do. We'll talk plenty about Nepal. I see you guys in there already flooding that. We're going to talk plenty about that USA-Nepal series in just a little bit. But before we get into that, Nate, something broke on our way here to the masjid. I actually heard this a couple of days ago. I didn't know when it was going to be official, and it's officially official. Cricket is coming to one place in particular. Cricket in the Coliseum. That's what we're going to see in Major League Cricket sometime soon. How exciting is this? The San Francisco Unicorns have made a pitch and have basically locked down an offer for the Oakland Coliseum out there in the Bay Area in California for Major League 2025.
And this is pretty much, if you're going to take a baseball stadium in the USA and you're going to convert it to cricket, this is the easiest one to do.
Yeah.
It's got a very large foul territory area. Mm-hmm. It's a round field, and they converted it from football to baseball. But now that Oakland's lost both of their major sports franchises, it's there, it's available for cricket. And it's always been speculated that this would eventually become this because of the shape of it and the size. It's the only place this can happen, really. And so I'd love to see the Oakland fan base latch on to this San Francisco team, the San Francisco fan base latch on to it, all the Fremont, all those cities out there.
No, I agree. I think for a city and an area that's kind of lost everything sports-wise, talk about the Warriors moved out, the Raiders have moved out, the A's are now headed away. This is a great opportunity for cricket to kind of immerse itself, and I think the Unicorns do a really good job with the community outreach. You saw the sponsors they got, the things they do in the community. This is just another thing that they do really well to root themselves in the Bay Area.
It gives them a chance to introduce cricket to people who aren't used to the sport, who aren't really familiar with it in Oakland itself. Oakland has great fans. They've got phenomenal fans. And so I'm excited for the fans there that they'll have another reason to go to this historic stadium. I went to a game there with Peter Della Penna.
Yeah, he told me about that.
Yeah, to see the Los Angeles Angels play against the Athletics. We got to see Shohei Ohtani, which was the biggest reason we went. but we you know, it's going to be challenges. It's not going to be easy. It's an old venue. There's a lot of challenges, but I'm stoked.
Yeah, talking about old, it's hosted Olympics over there in LA. And possibly going to the Olympics in 2028 for cricket. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that. But exciting stuff to open up today's episode. But let's get into why we're here. Why half the comments are here right now, Nate. Because we had the USA and Nepal in a T20 International Series hosted by the USA, the Stakes, Stars, and Summits Trophy. They're talking about making this like an annual thing. And by God, did year one live up to the hype.
It really did. It was terrific. First of all, we've been clamoring for more bilaterals, basically more in Nepal. There's no better team to host than Nepal. It's going to bring in the fans, especially in the Grand Prairie, Dallas area, where you have more Nepali expats than you do anywhere in the USA.
Yeah.
So I thought it was excellent. We want to get more USA fans out there too, but that's growing and that's building, and it's tough to compete with that Nepal fan base. I don't care where you are in the world.
It was phenomenal. I was there, and to feel the energy there was just electric. I wanted to get into the results for this game. There's a reason why the atmosphere was electric. Nepal with a clean sweep. You see there on your screen 3 victories, Nate. Of the 3 victories, What are you thinking about here? Because you see the first one, Nepal, they put up 164, USA can't chase it. The third one, the USA never fell into it. Nepal completely ran them out of the field. And then the second one, it was a tie. It was a super over that ended up going Nepal's way. Sampol Kami was brilliant in the series. I want to ask you this before we really jump into the details. Of the 3 games, which one to you was the most disappointing?
Oh my gosh, the second game was so difficult. The first game was tough, but you still have 2 games,
Right.
and USA can still win both of those games after that first game. That second game was gut wrenching. It was heartbreaking.
Sure.
The USA gave it away. It didn't close the game out, and it kind of set the tone for how the third game would end up going with their batting, anyways. But yeah, it was difficult. But it's one of those things that at the end of it all, you're still happy for this series to happen. But as a passionate USA fan, I know a lot of USA fans were very disappointed how that second game turned out. The super over was a disaster. No, there's no sugarcoating that.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is cricket. This is basically the same as Cricket World Cup League 2. This is the same level. This is a very competitive level. It's a lot of pride on the line. And I think Nepal they were going to be real hard to beat.
Yeah, speaking of Nepal, Sampol Kami, brilliant. He was the player of the series. Rohit Baldwin, I thought, was an excellent captain. Deepinder Singh Airi struck. And for USA, they did have some good performers. Saiteja Mukamala was great with the bat in hand all series long for the USA. A half century in the final match as well. He was really good. A nice young talent blooming. For me, Nate, the hardest game was match 3, though, because I just didn't feel the USA were in it. We saw good performances from Saiteja Mukamala, from Andres Kels at times, but Andres goes early, and it just felt the team was never in it. And all credit to Nepal, to what they did. I thought Gulshan Jha was really fun to see in person. Gulshan Mala in that second game was really fun to see in person. But I just felt the USA weren't in the game in terms of their hearts weren't there in the match number 3.
I was worried about that. I was really worried about that. I thought, okay, after the first 2 losses, you play for pride. You can show everybody what you're made of. But looking back to the first 2 games, especially the second game, we don't even get to that super over without Andres.
Yeah.
And Andres failed early, so it was a real test of the team, I thought.
Yeah.
And Sai stood up, but nobody else really did with the bat. You're right. That was disappointing. It was a downer. Let's hope they move past it. Let's hope this USA games that we're about to talk about helped boost the team's morale a little bit.
Yeah, and speaking of good performers from that USA series with Nepal in the T20, Jesse Singh was also very good. Was the highest wicket taker amongst the bunch. I thought that in this series, Nepal was really smart with how they played. They looked to take Jesse on. I think that's why he ended up with the most wickets, but they weren't going to hit Harmeet down the ground. They just decided that we're not going to really try to take him on. They took Milland on the 1 over he bowled. Saurabh wasn't at his very best, but they still respected him. And whenever Ali Khan got loose, they put him away. And so they found runs consistently. Nate, I thought they played the bigger boundaries in Dallas to perfection. And going to those bigger boundaries, a lot of talk about this USA team and the construction of this USA team. Tell me your thoughts on the team itself, what needs to be changed, if anything needs to be changed.
Well, one thing we harped on a bit in the minor league show, when we talked about it in Major League as well, is in Dallas, you want to have lefties in your batting lineup. You always want to anyways, especially at this Cricket World Cup League 2 level. When we beat Ireland for our first victory against a full member, we did it with, I believe, 4 lefty bats in the top 8.
Right.
And that gives the opponent an extra challenge, especially when you have the asymmetry that you often see down there in Dallas. You have a short side, you have a wide side of the ground. You always have a chance to access that short side.
Yeah.
And you got to bowl accordingly. It forces the bowlers to change their line so much. And I believe at this level you can get away with you can steal a game that way at every series.
Yeah, I agree. I think the lefties would have been really interesting in that lineup without Gurjant Singh there, without Stephen Taylor. It's really all Harmeet Singh, who hadn't been in the best form coming into the series. There's always questions about who should be in the team, right?
Yeah.
I come away thinking that the USA just lacks some late big hits. Shayan Jahangir showed it a little bit. Milind Kumar showed it at times. But I just didn't feel they had enough around the board. For me, a guy like Obis Panar, or maybe an Ali Sheikh, a left-handed big hitter.
Yeah.
Someone of that nature who can come in a finishing role would have really done the trick for me on this USA squad.
I think they also missed Shadley.
Yeah.
I think Shadley's bat is underappreciated by a lot of people. I don't think it's underappreciated by Team USA.
Right.
But as a T20 batter, Shadley's great in that role late where he can come in when there's a collapse and steady the collapse, where he can come in and give you 12 runs off of 5-6 balls if you need it at the end. You know, he's that type of a player. I think they could have benefited from him. But yeah, the tricky thing is selecting is difficult. You go back a month.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good call to take Steven out.
Right.
But then he goes to minor league and he scores two centuries in a weekend.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, Steven's back on it. You know, and in this series, whether or not it was the right thing to put him in now, retroactively or retrospectively when you look back at it, it would have been a good move.
Yeah, it would have been interesting indeed. Speaking of good moves, I want to talk about this broadcast as a whole from the series. Yes, I'm a little bit biased because I was part of the broadcast, but I thought the quality of just everyone involved, I thought the quality of the cameras, of the way they switched, the way the stories were told, our crew was phenomenal. The cameras, the director there, Rob, the camera individuals, Bob Arbay was there helping out with everything. I thought that was phenomenal. I saw a lot of comments. There's Lenny, Peter, and I in that photo as well. I saw a lot of comments on Twitter and Instagram talking about how this is one of the best associate broadcasts, and this is one of my favorite photos. I also have to say, along with a great broadcast, great photographers there. Morel was there, our favorite, and then Sajan was also there. He's the Nepal League cricket photographer. How about this? Like, this was my favorite picture of the series. Yes, it helps that I'm in it, but unbelievable, this photo there, the colors in it. And I was just so impressed with Sajan. He was just such a lovely individual, and the broadcast in general.
That's part of why you do it. You want to get these pictures of yourself, right? I mean, I'm joking a little bit, but you really do. You want to get these great memories captured so vividly here. These are great shots. But yeah, the broadcast was absolutely tremendous. It was my favorite thing about the whole thing.
Yeah, and Rob there, just between me and Andrew Leonard, was just phenomenal to work with. My first time working with him, real pro, unbelievable, and I was really happy with him. Also, talking about Andrew Leonard, you can get Dakludai out of there. Dakludai was just after that third game, he tried to run down to grab a video of the Nepal team lifting the trophy. Right, so he's on where the old baseball commentators used to be. He was started there, and he tried to make his way down the concourse.
Yeah, good
and
luck.
Got stopped at section 106. It goes 102, 103, 104, 105, 106. Right at 106. Didn't leave that post. I tried to get him on field for those final photos. It took us 30 minutes to get Andrew Leonard. That's how popular he was.
And it's predictable. When we were in Florida doing the World Cup.
Yep.
And I was the ground announcer, and you were the MC.
Yep.
At the end of it was washed out.
Yep.
But the Nepal fans never left. They were still there partying. And I was waiting for Andrew to get from one end of the ground to where we were on the absolute other end. And I think we waited at least an hour for him to make it over there. And he was trying hard.
Yep. No, I mean, he's phenomenal. And it's not just because he's Dakludai. He's just great at what he does, right? And that's why they've taken to him. But I love being a part of that broadcast. So much fun. Dave Wagner and his crew were great. Justin Keel, Merv, Josh Dascom, everyone who put David White, everyone who put that whole thing together. USA Cricket alongside MLC.
It's a dream team, the whole thing.
It was great.
It
was fantastic. Zubin Zakari was there as well. So brilliant. Love that. USA, though, they're going to want to look to rebound. And if you're a USA fan, you found a way to rebound in the last couple of days because the USA A team made its inaugural performance warming up the Nepal ODI side and the Scotland ODI side. And my God, these USA A guys, it was an emerging team basically. They outperformed. Let's take a look at these scores here. They beat Nepal. That's the same Nepal squad that handed USA 3 losses. Not a change. Sandeep Lamachani actually came in for these ODIs, and they get bowled out 80 for 10.
Yeah, that was absolutely tremendous. Like this was something special. And yes, it's a warm-up game essentially. But nobody wants a warm-up game to only last 80 runs for a warm-up 50 overs game. So it's not like Nepal's just gonna not care. They have to warm up for a Cricket World Cup League 2 series. That's a very important series. This was impressive from the A team. We've been calling for an A team for a long time. We got kind of a mixture of an A and emerging team, but great job.
Yeah, great job. And then Scotland today, we just kind of finished it up as we got into the building. And they end up winning this game as well, chasing down a total this time above 340. So they showed it. They can dominate with the ball. And then they dominated with the bat. They won this by 7 wickets.
This is incredible variety. We just, I mean, when I saw that they had given up 340, oh my gosh, this is going to be a climb.
Yeah.
And they did it with only 3 wickets. They chased it down because we have some hot batters in this USA squad right now.
We do, and they were phenomenal. The bats were phenomenal, but it started with the bowlers on that very first day. Take a look at some of these here. I on the side got it started. It wasn't just the bowling, but the fielding. There was just an intensity on the field with this A squad.
Look at that. That's incredible.
Arnath Karni was great as well. Look at that great catch at slip. Like, this was just impressive stuff here because I thought the swing bowling was great, but there was that level of intensity. See how much it means to each one of these guys.
Yeah, it really does. And they're playing for the spots in the USA men's senior team.
Yeah, brilliant. Arnath Karni, he's a youngster, under 19 guy, and he's coming in and he's just ripping it around, angling it in, getting it to swing away late. And then Ali Sheikh with maybe the greatest catch in USA colors ever. I'm going to slow it down right here. Take a look at this when it comes back up. It's slashed away. This is 4 runs, written all over it. One-handed, shades of Odell Beckham, gets upstairs. Unbelievable job there from Ali Sheikh. And the wickets just kept coming. Eye on the side, Abhishek Butterkar. This is caught by Yasir Mohammed off the bowling of Abhishek Butterkar. And then this one, it was a run out. Sandeep Lamashani, where are you going?
There you go. One fantastic stuff. They got to do it in the field.
Yeah, take another look at this. Lamashani, I think he just hasn't played cricket in a while because you can just see he's just all over the place. Vasu Vagela getting in there, and then Utkar Srivastava, our man. How much turn has that got on it?
Love it. He's good enough with the ball to be considered a bowler sometimes, but his batting is his key.
And there you go. That's that 10th wicket on that day against Nepal. And then this is the first ball, the second ball against Scotland. Look how much this has swung. It's come outside the off stump and come right back onto the off pole. Can't believe it. And then this is Abhishek Butterkar here. Another brilliant catch.
Unreal.
This time by Eye on the side.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. Eye on the side. He's great. He's great in the field. He's great with the ball. He's just a great budding young player.
It's been brilliant here. And then Yasir Mohammed gets in on the act. The leggy, he gets one of his own, the LBW there. Nate, we talk about emerging talents, emerging players all the time. This team, we had to feel really good about this team. Why, Nate?
Well, when I came in here tonight, I was like, the USAA team is basically the emerging player of the week super team from minor league cricket. And we've spent 3 years now going through and naming an emerging player of the week.
Yeah.
And it's just good to see so many of the guys whose names we've called time and time again, or that might finish just runners-up, but finish at the top.
Right.
Basically, compose this team and just fill up this entire squad, and just look how good they're doing. It's a great look into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was just the ball. Look at what happened with the bat. One of these guys is emerging, and one isn't. It's Sanjay Krishnamurthy and Nitish Kumar. And my God, these are 2 of the hottest bats in the country. Both great ODI bats. Neither of them in the squad, and yet they just put on an absolute show against Scotland.
Just incredible. Incredible what they did today. Their partnership today went for 235 runs for that 3rd wicket partnership. That is just unbelievable.
And again, Sanjay Krishnamurthy, 167 off 120. Nitish Kumar, 101 off of 103. And Sanjay is making it very tough for people who are just watching this. How can you consistently make a case that he doesn't deserve to be in any USA national side, senior national side?
He's had a run of form this summer. That's Gajanan Singh has been pretty good too.
Yeah.
But Sanjay's run of form since Major League has just been absolutely outrageous. He can't be stopped right now.
No, he can't. And again, you look at the innings today and you watch the way he played. He didn't try to slog everything, but he just let himself get into the game, and then he took it up a gear. But he's also spoken to us in T20, he's looking to play with a strike rate. And that's the kind of emergence and development you want to see out of young cricketers, especially young top-order batters.
And he's doing this at the 3-4 role, which is really difficult to do. It's difficult to score at a high strike rate at that 3-4 in T20 and in ODI, and he does it somehow. And I think that's tremendous for us in the future.
He's phenomenal, and I can't wait to see more of him. Hopefully, at some point, we get to see him back into that senior team. He's already debuted for the USA, and he bowled some handy overs of left arm orthodox. Nate, anything else you want to say about this A team?
Oh, just it was incredible to see, especially today. Obviously, the Nepal thing. You know, you could say Nepal was tired or something.
100%.
But today, to chase down this with only losing 3 wickets. I'm really proud of how these guys are doing. It's like I said before, it's a cross between an emerging side and an A side.
Yeah.
But they're lighting a fire behind the guys in the senior team, letting them know that, hey, we're right behind you.
They are right behind them indeed. And the senior team, ironically, is right behind them in terms of when they play. Let's jump into Cricket World Cup League 2 because we're going to see the next set of League 2 matches here. This is the table that we'll start out with. The USA are sitting in second place right now, right behind Canada. Scotland's in fifth, and Nepal's at eighth. And Nepal, I think, will feel hard done up in Canada, having not won any of those League 2 matches there, having not registered points. They need points desperately. Scotland's looking to get back up the mix. But for USA, it's about shaking off what was a tough series and getting back to their form in Namibia, where they just looked unbeatable.
Yeah, they came into this T20 series. We mentioned last week they came into the series hot.
Yeah.
Nepal came into the series cold. They've switched. So we'll see how it goes. I do think the Nepal fans are going to come out again for their team. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, hopefully they can get out there just a little bit earlier. Let's take a look at those schedules there. You see the first matchup. It's USA-Scotland to start things off there on the 25th. And then it's just every other day we get matches. USA-Nepal, then Scotland takes on Nepal. And then the USA back against Scotland, back against Nepal. And we'll finish things off with Nepal and Scotland on the 4th of November, Nate. Yes, the 4th of November indeed. And I'm really excited to get back down to Grand Prairie. I'll be back down there alongside Andrew Leonard. Peter Della Penna will be there as well for a bit of time. So that'll be a lot of fun getting to call those games. But an ODI format at Grand Prairie. It's the first time we'll have ODI internationals at Grand Prairie. How exciting is that?
It'll be great. And in November, I'm curious to see what the temperature's like because it's definitely warm down there.
And it's cooler than you'd think at nighttime. It was very chilly.
Finally.
It was very chilly during those post-match presentations. I had a hoodie on actually in the comm box when I was not on
I can't even believe it.
And again, it was rather chilly. So this is an exciting time to be in Dallas, especially if it's really cold here. It means it's probably just right down there in Texas. But I look at this World Cup League 2. USA has just announced their squad earlier today about who is going to be on it, and there's really no surprises. We see Smit Patel come back into the side alongside Shadley Van Skalkvik. Those two into the team. Utkar Srivastava still there. Monang Patel, the captain. You have Saurabh Netravalkar, Andres Gels. You have Saiteji Mukamala, of course, Jasdeep Singh, Nash Kenjige, Shadley Van Skalkvik, we mentioned Shahin Jahangir, Harmeet Singh, Smit Patel we've already talked about. Shushant Modani comes in. Milind Kumar is in, Utkar Srivastava, Yasir Mohammed, and Janoy Drysdale. The big name that you won't see in there, Ali Khan, not part of the team. He's just still coming back from injury. Actually, funny enough, he was on the same flight of me out of Dallas after the T20 series, and he'll be wanting to take on Nepal. It seems to be a rivalry of his that he likes to enjoy.
Yeah, I think there's also a couple other names that are surprising. We don't see Aaron Jones in the team.
Yeah.
That's really strange considering most believe this is his strongest format.
Sure.
Historically, it has been his strongest format. We also don't see Nitish Kumar, who was phenomenal today, and honestly has more experience than just about anybody in the country in ODI cricket. And Sanjay Krishnamurthy, whom we mentioned before, youngster. But I think the most surprising things to me are no Aaron and no Nitish Kumar.
Yeah, because both of them have been in the ODI squad very recently, and shocked to see it. Smit Patel obviously was going to come back into his role, so you just felt maybe it displaces Aaron a little bit, but you just felt there should have been room for Aaron somewhere in this team. It doesn't seem to be that way. We'll see if he can get back into the squad. Of these cricketers, though, who are you most looking forward to from the USA perspective of seeing in an ODI format at the moment?
Well, I'd like to see Sai get some more time as he's done. He's been really hot lately.
Yeah.
I think I'm most excited about that. That's what I'm sticking with, Sai.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the fast bowlers are utilized because you have days off, but you play one day, then you play 2 days later. So is it going to be a rotation where Saurabh's in and out one game, Jesse's in and out, Shadley comes in, Janoy comes in? Do they shuffle it around that way? Again, just the four-seamers. No Abhishek Butterkar, no eye on the side, which was really surprising for me. I thought he would get the new ball, maybe swing it around a little bit.
True.
How do they utilize their pace bowling attack? And also the spinners, right? Does Yasir Mohammed get into more games? Or is it just Harmeet Singh and then Milind Kumar on the other end?
And Utkar Srivastava.
Right,
Where is he going to fit in? Because we've seen him as a bowler in this format. We've seen him. Obviously, we know how good of a batter he is. How he's one of the star young players in the USA. But yeah, I am interested in this fast bowling attack, especially in fast bowling is so important in Grand Prairie. So I'm definitely very interested to see what we can do. Obviously, your lengths are very important at this ground. I think maybe a little bit fuller than some of our guys like to go.
Sure.
And historically have gone. For example, Janoi Drysdale. I think maybe change their tactics just a hair for the ground. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And one thing before we move on, we've talked about a lack of left-handers. Still, that same lack of left-handers. It's all righties, except Harmeet Singh, really. And you're going against Scotland, who has Michael Leask, one of the best left-arm spinners in the entire world. How good is he? Sandeep Lamashane. You don't have a guy to go against it. Kushal Malla can give you some left-arm spin. There's plenty of guys who bring the ball away from the right-hander, and all these other sides have left-handed bats really all across the board. Scotland probably had a lack of it, but the USA one left-handed bat in the 11 versus Nepal. They're going to be littered with it. How much of a disadvantage do you think it plays in this format in particular?
I think it does. I think it really does. Also, you don't have Stevens' right arm off spin to neutralize the left-handed batting from the other team.
Right.
I think it plays a really big role, and I think that's a miss. We have a lot of good left-handed bats in the USA.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see another left-handed batter or two in this squad to kind of balance it out. Because leg break and left arm orthodox spin are kryptonite at Cricket World Cup League 2 for a variety of reasons. And while the wicket is better for batters in Dallas than just about anywhere in Cricket World Cup League 2. You still have that asymmetry that comes into play so often with the wicket placement in the square, and that can aid an advantage like that.
And that's where my big question of USA spinners come in, because obviously Harmeet Singh's going to play. Nash Khanjika, you reckon, has to play. And so does Yasir Mohammed come in as a third spinner? And if so, do you just play the two pacers, which probably no, because you don't have anyone else who bowls pace? Or do you get rid of one of Milind Kumar or Shahan Jahangir? Shahan is in really good T20 form. Milind's coming off really good ODI form. Smith Patel's been really great. Do you move off of him? He's been your keeper in the format. Where do you go there?
Well, we just saw in the Super 8s, and we saw it again in this T20i series. Fast bowlers, teams in the Super 8s that had the most good quality fast bowlers did the best.
Yeah.
And I think fast bowling is very important. I don't think you want to go in there with just two. I think you want to have you want to have four, I think you want to have options.
So this is going to be an interesting question now, because, again, you don't have a lot of... It's funny enough, because in their top order, they play three wicketkeepers. And then Shahan Jahangir is a fourth wicketkeeper that's going to play, most likely.
Yeah.
Right? Monan's a keeper.
A lot of keepers.
Andres is a keeper. Smith keeps. And Shayan keeps. And Shayan's not going to hold the gloves. Fine, he's going to go out there in the field.
Yeah.
Andres won't... Will Andres hold the gloves? Will Smith hold the gloves? That's a big question there.
And another thing that adds to that question, Monarch in his last four internationals of either format, 2, 1, 3, 5. He scored 11 runs in his last four internationals.
Right.
So Monarch, who's the captain of the team, is in a slump, and that makes it really difficult when you have a lot of depth at the position where the captain is, and he's also in a slump. It adds a lot of questions. Meanwhile, Andres has been in great form in his last 6. He's got at least 4 times he scored 30, including a 62 and 81 out of his last 6 innings.
Just phenomenal.
I think that's, do you sit your captain? That's a question.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see about that. There's a question in the comment I want to get to. SK Vibes asks, is that the same Nitish from India? No, it's not. I didn't actually know that his middle name was Reddy.
Until I saw the
USAA scorecard on the USAA thing. But no, this is a different Nitish Kumar. This Nitish Kumar, originally from Canada. He was part of that Canadian team. He was a captain of that Canadian team. He played in the World Cup at just 15 years old. He's Canadian, and he's come down to the USA, and now he is an American through and through, residing in the area of Texas. So SK Vibes, not the one from India, formerly the one of Canada, but now of the USA.
Yeah, and his middle name really isn't Ready. So
there you go.
It's not Ready.
Well, it makes sense now why he's NRK on Instagram. I'm putting these dots together live on air.
That's
for you
Ronak.
Right now.
His middle name is Ronak.
Ah, there you go.
He's named after Jeremy Ronak, the American ice hockey player. His middle name is named after Jeremy Ronak, the American ice hockey player.
I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
I'm dead serious. He is not Nitish Reddy. He is Nitish Ronak.
That's pretty impressive. How about that, Nitish Ronak? The more you know, and Nate Hayes probably knows it.
Value
already.
added.
Value added. Andrew Leonard, that's for you. Here we go. Let's move into the women now. We've talked all about the men, but the women have had some historic stuff going on as well. They are playing an ODI series in Zimbabwe. First one without Sindhushi Harsha as the captain. They lose match 1, but match 2, the first ever ODI win versus Zimbabwe, Nate.
Yeah, it's tremendous. They had lost 6 of they had lost their first 6 ODIs, so this is their 7th, and then they get the win finally. So this is good. They can maybe move up the rankings a little bit. They were dead last in the ODI rankings, but tremendous from the women.
Yeah, tremendous indeed. Speaking of that win, a lot of big performers in that win, huh? I mean, and let's jump before that win first. I want to talk about Disha Dhingra because she's really emerging as a star bat in this women's circuit. She works a lot up in the New Jersey area. She's brilliant through the offside, great hands, and she's become the top scorer for USA women in women's ODIs. You can see the runs there on the board.
Yeah, 23, then 39, and then 41. So every ODI of her last 3, she's gotten a little bit better. She's gotten off to some great starts. We're going to see 50s. We're going to see 100s. It's going to be great.
Yeah, phenomenal is she. Speaking of other great batters, other great young batters like this USA team is, Anika Golan. She was brilliant as well in today's game, chasing down the total that they did of 180. She put up 43 runs of her own off 59 balls. She's tremendous with the gloves. She's the vice captain on this series. And my God, she's really emerging as her own really bright talent as well.
Yeah, her batting is definitely her strength. We've seen a lot the last few years. She's always been a bright, shining star. 37, 1, and then 43, bouncing back from a disappointing innings in her second game there. So yeah, great, terrific.
Speaking of bouncing back, our very own Geetika Godali didn't have the greatest first day with the ball in that first ODI. Just failed to pick up that wicket that she wanted. Well, she said, you know what? I didn't pick up match 1. I'll pick up 5 in match 2. 5 for 43. We know how good of a bowler she is, and she's showing it on a world stage.
And Geets, when she's on fire, when Geetika's on fire, man, she has big games. We've seen her with a hat trick before in the Caribbean, the CPL 60, and now 5 wickets for 43 runs. What a tremendous game.
Yeah, tremendous indeed. Plenty of other performances as well in that entire thing. Sindhushi Harsha is, she has a high score now in women's ODI cricket, and they finally get that big win that they're looking for. Brilliant. Love to see that. Really excited to see what this women's team does as they continue to progress.
Yeah, it seems like this game, all their batters did something, almost all of them. And, you're seeing 30s and 40s. I think we're soon to see 50s and 60s. And there's a long way to go. But I think that they're getting better fast.
Yeah, and again, I think you start to see the batters click. You're seeing the bowlers start to click, and they're putting together more consistent performances. And I think it's due to them just playing more cricket as a group, and that's always a good thing.
Always a good thing. Yeah.
And you know what? Since we're talking about the women's game, I want to go jump into these comments here because they've just flooded in. Nate, first off, I want to do one from Sana, our very own Sana, Shahin Jahangir Sana.
There we go.
She goes, that's interesting, being from Canada, a country of hockey crazed fans, being named after an American hockey player.
Yeah, I love it.
He was meant to come down here. He was always meant to be American.
I love that point. I'm so happy that she said it. But yeah, it is great. Yeah, because Ronak also played for USA in ice hockey, and so now you have Nitish Kumar, who's played for USA in a World Cup. And so did Jeremy Ronak in the hockey version.
And it was right.
World Championship.
It was right there on this map where he hit the winning runs against Pakistan, just about there.
Somewhere around there, a little bit higher.
Probably there.
I think
somewhere.
A little bit higher.
Somewhere over there. I'm not great with the geography, but we'll
right.
move on to Shiva Entertainment, who said, "How strong do you think Scotland is compared to Nepal and USA?" And to that I say, Scotland is just this kind of a unit that's just so consistent. They find guys to plug in roles. They're looking at cricketers who are just always in form. I never look at Scotland and say, man, they got 5 guys out of form. They always, if someone's not in form, they'll sub them in and out, and they'll find a guy who's in form. And that's the beautiful thing about Scotland. They're going to be a force in League 2.
Well, also, another thing is this Cricket World Cup League 2 table, if you look at it top to bottom, I dare you to tell me who the top 4 finishers are going to be. It's a really difficult table. And Scotland, you look at it and you say, Scotland might be, is probably one of the 3 best teams. But my gosh, we've seen what Cricket World Cup League 2 can do. We've seen how crazy it can finish. They've only played 7, so 9 points in 7 is tremendous.
Yeah.
USA has played 8, they got 12. So really, Scotland's just on their heels.
Right.
And Canada had that great start, and it's been cooled off a little bit.
Yeah, again, that's the big thing when you look at this table. It's hard to really sit there and say, oh, yeah, USA for sure, because this is going on until the end of December 2026. Nate, we have a long time for this League 2 to play out and process and nurture itself. So, for Canada being at the top to Nepal being close to the bottom, or even, the UAE being close to the bottom, a good series here and there, boom, can shoot you right back up.
Not just a good series, but we've seen some unprecedented stuff from Nepal in the past.
Yeah.
I think they won 11 of 12 or 12 of 13 to close out the Cricket World Cup League 2 when it looked like they might drop out of it. You can't count them out.
No,
especially at home, they're almost unbeatable.
And I think Nepal is going to be good in this league too. I think don't worry too much about the warm-up match. They're tired. They're coming off a big series, but you're going to get Gunnar KC bowling it early in the morning, swinging the ball around on green surfaces. Sompal Kami would do the same thing. Goshan Jha is becoming a really young star. I really like what I saw at Kushav Malo over there. You're getting batters to get in form. Asif Sheikh just scoring a 50. So they're getting guys, Kershal Bartel as well scoring a half century. So they're getting guys back in form. I think for Nepal, it's important to win at least 2 matches here, if not win their 3. And I only say that because of the fact that they had that poor series in Canada. You drop now, it almost feels like you'll need one of those historic runs later on in this League 2 cycle.
And I think that their fast bowling's been good in the T20i series. It's going to need to continue to be good, and I think that they'll show that they really do have a good core.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. Scotland, phenomenal as well. Again, if you haven't seen Michael Leask's bowl, you're going to be in for a real treat. I think their batters are great. Andy Umeed looked really good today. Rishi Barrington, obviously, we know how good he is. He's always been so consistent. I'm really excited for this League 2, Nate. I think there's going to be a lot of really cool storylines. I think there's opportunities for us to have a lot to talk about as well. But I'm really intrigued by what this League 2 is going to bring us, because I think one of these 3 teams are really going to ascend up the table. And if this is the USA's case, I think they'll ascend past Canada if they get to a hot mark. Otherwise, I think Nepal and Scotland could really climb back up this table.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just stoked. I'm glad you're going to be there.
Yeah.
Wish I could be there too, but I'm so encouraged by how great the broadcast was in that
Sure.
T20i series. I've told you I get a lot of FOMO sometimes when I can't be there, but this time I was just so stoked to be consuming something of such good quality. That's going to happen again.
And before we leave out, Nate, I want to talk about those T20 shit again. Sana brought it up in the chat, so I wanted to talk about the fans of Nepal roaring. I mean, I was down there for the post-match presentation. I was doing it in the series finale, and I'm doing it, and I can't hear Rohit Baldo talk to me. I can't hear Sompal Kami talk to me, because they're just roaring and screaming. They're singing at the top of their lungs. They're dancing. They're having fun, having a good time. And I hope if you're a Nepali fan in Dallas, come out to these ODIs whenever you can, however you can, because they're going to need you. And we love seeing that and hearing that. It tells us some great stories. We want to talk about a fan that we met down there for that third T20. His name is Jay. He's from Colorado. He's a blind cricket fan, and he listens to the game. And I went over there just introduced myself. He's like, "Oh yeah, I've heard you before." And he talked about how much it means to him that the broadcast is the way it is, that he could hear everything. His wife is blind, but they're 2 huge cricket fans from Nepal. He wants a visually impaired team here in the States.
Right.
I mean, the stories you get from the fans that come out to the stadiums, not just Nepali fans, but all these fans, are what make it worth it. And whether you're a Nepali fan, Scottish fan, USA fan, or just cricket fan, sports fan, come out. We want to hear those stories.
Yeah, and I'd love to hook up with Jay, because I wrote an article a few years ago about a blind cricket program in the Midwest. Mm-hmm. Obviously, be a little bit of a trek for him, because I believe it was in Illinois. Okay. But if I could hook him up with those folks, they might be able to help find him some opportunities for blind cricket. Blind cricket's a lot of fun to watch, and so we want to encourage everybody to play cricket, no matter what kind of cricket you play.
Yeah, I mean, how good is that? How good is that? Again, I just got emotional just thinking about it. Want to thank the entire broadcast crew up there in Nepal. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This was just a phenomenal thing that we got a chance to do. Nate, any last words that you want to talk about tonight?
I just want to say how proud I am to be a fan of USA Cricket, to see these youngsters, and how excited I am for the future to see the young guys do what they did today. How great Sanjay Krishnamurthy just keeps going. And yeah, we keep saying, why isn't he in the team? Okay, look, this is a great test for him.
Mm-hmm.
He might be thinking that too. And I want to say, Sanjay Krishnamurthy, just keep it up. Keep your foot on the gas. How you doing it? You're doing everything right. You're not doing anything wrong. Just like this is a learning thing. Enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride, indeed. And we sure enjoyed tonight's ride. How good was this tonight, Nate? To be here with the entire crew. Babar Bhai was back with us. You're back with us, Nate. I was happy to be back. And happy to see you guys in the chat. That's why I'm looking over here so much, because I'm looking to see you guys in the chat, and we love to see you guys there. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll hopefully have a show next week. It might look a little bit different. I'll be down there in Texas, but we'll make it happen. We thank you for joining us for Cricket Across America, and we can't wait to see you again.